Hey everybody, I'm Jesse, and welcome to another edition of Gen X Thinks. And today I'm going to answer a comment left by a boomer in our comment section. I believe it was in the comment section of the video, "That which does not destroy us makes us stronger." I believe it was a baby boomer. The handle is Red Dragon 7030. But the user talks about millennials and Gen X and Gen Z, so I'm pretty sure just by process of elimination that he or she is a baby boomer. Let's see what Red Dragon 7030 has to say, and I will respond to it. First off, referring to the video I made, classic Gen X, completely spoiled. Everything was cheaper times 10. All right. I'm a classic Gen Xer, completely spoiled, and everything was cheaper times 10 back then. That is true. Everything was cheaper back then, but minimum wage was like $3 an hour or something. I don't know exactly, but we didn't make as much money back then. So I don't get your point. Inflation rises, wages rise. So back then you could support a family on $12 an hour. You can't do that now. That'll barely pay your rent. You'd starve on $12 an hour. So saying that stuff was cheaper back then is just, I mean, it's true, but it's not the whole picture. You still had to work hard to get what you wanted. There was still unemployment. There was still, healthcare was expensive back then too. Everything was still expensive. A brand new computer was $5,000. Saying that kind of stuff is just, it's either said out of ignorance or blatantly disregarding the rest of the facts that go along with it. There's a lot more to the economy than just the price of items. Yeah, a Coke was 25 cents, but you only made $3 an hour. So you can still buy the same amount of Cokes with the same amount of hours of work. You know what I mean? So there's nothing to that. Completely spoiled. Obviously, Red Dragon, you have not watched my other videos about growing up in the 70s. If you had, you would not say that about me. I was nowhere near spoiled as a child. Not in the most liberal sense of the word. I'm going to go so far as to say you had a normal childhood, which is a lot closer to Barron Trump's than mine. You have no idea what you're talking about. If you want an idea, go back and watch my videos about growing up in the 70s. And then you'll know where I'm coming from. You're saying stuff about somebody that you have no clue. You have absolutely no idea of the life I've lived, the life of any of my fellow Gen Xers have lived, and you just calling me or us spoiled is ridiculous. It's laughably funny. It's so ridiculous. You're so ignorant, you don't know how stupid you look by saying that. All right, let's move on. Made the Zoomer generation the softest. Number one, that's saying that Generation Z, I guess, is soft, and we are the parents, or mostly the parents of Generation Z. Again, I would go back to that video I made about Gen X as parents. No one has ever had to raise kids in the environment that we have. It's ridiculous for someone to say things like this without having walked a mile in our shoes. Once again, this person has no idea what they're talking about. Absolutely none. They didn't raise kids in the age of information with the internet and cell phones and smartphones and all this Snapchat and whatever, whatchamacallit app, whatever. So they have no idea. And I've said before that Generation Z is the most patriotic generation. I've seen videos of them standing up, and a group of them standing up and protecting the American flag from protesters. Now, that's not every single Gen Zer out there. Of course, some of them were the protesters, but still, what I'm saying still holds water. They have a higher number of patriotic Gen Zers than they do millennials and the rest of them. This person just has no idea what they're talking about, number one. Number two, let's just say, for the sake of argument, that Gen Zers are soft. I don't know how this person is using this word physically, emotionally, mentally. Let's say, for instance, that that is a correct statement. To blame the parents in this age of information with everything that's going on, the internet and all this other stuff, all these apps and everything that we have going on now, while we're trying to hold jobs and provide for the family, right? It's just ridiculous to blame that all on the parents. Like the parents just, we're just going to make a whole generation of soft kids. We did the best we could in the environment that we were in, period. Just like the generation before us and the generation before them. Nothing this person has said so far holds water at all. So let's continue. This generation sold the U.S. to corporate America and didn't bat an eye. This might be my favorite of the things this person commented. So this Red Dragon is blaming Gen X for selling the U.S. to corporate America. So without any facts, none of this, this person doesn't provide any evidence or facts for any of this that they're claiming. They're just typing this crap down here. So we sold America to corporate America. We sold the U.S. to corporate America. That's their claim. One, just right off the bat, you just have to, it just takes just a little bit of common sense and 5 seconds of thought to just rip this crap apart. But number one, we're the smallest generation by number, right? Except for the oldest generation that's going away. But they were bigger than us when they were at their prime. We're the smallest generation by population size. All right. And I suppose by selling out to corporate America, they're saying that we bought, Nikes and iPhones and stuff like that. And in saying that, I can only suppose that Red Dragon must live out in the woods and, use live traps to catch muskrats and stuff, and then gently shave them to weave the hair into, fancy hats and stuff for themselves. Living an existence like that, eating acorns and leaves and stuff. They could not contribute to corporate America by buying items like everyone else and say this about an entire generation. So this person must not drive a car, must not wear clothes except handmade ones. Possibly this person, an Amish person, could say this about a group of people and it actually hold water if an Amish person said this. But I doubt this person is Amish because they're watching YouTube videos. So just the fact that they're on some kind of device to type this shines a light on the fact that they're full of shit, because they sold out to corporate America by buying the device on which they are typing this about Gen X selling out to corporate America. Not a lot of thought went into this, I'm telling you now. Somehow in our 20s, when we were trying to figure things out, just like every other generation before us, we sold the entire nation out to corporate America. Not just, us. Ourselves. We sold the entire nation out. We're the ones responsible for Microsoft and Apple and Coca-Cola being these multi-billion-dollar conglomerates. That's our fault. The boomers didn't have anything to do with it. They didn't like new stuff. The boomers just turned their heads and held their noses while we consumed all this stuff, right? Yeah. Okay. And we go on. The 90s was a hangover for the 70s and 80s. Everything was brown. Everything had to be bubble wrapped because Gen X kept pouring McDonald's coffee on themselves. I'm not exactly sure what the first part of this meant the first couple sentences. The 90s was a hangover for the 70s and 80s. I mean, that just doesn't make sense. I'm not sure. I'm not even sure how to reply to that. Everything was brown. The 90s to me was a decade just like every other decade. It was people working and some people not working, politicians lying, corporations making money. Everything, I don't know. Our music was different in the 90s than it was in the 80s. The movies were a little different than they were in the 80s, but I don't understand that. I'm lost there. Everything was brown. I don't know what he means by that. Maybe it was shitty. I don't know. Everything had to get bubble wrap because Gen X kept pouring McDonald's coffee on themselves. All right, so we all know, we all heard the thing about the lady that sued McDonald's because she poured coffee on herself. She spilled coffee on herself in her car. But I actually read an article on that, and that coffee was insanely hot, and it removed her skin. I mean, it seriously burned her. They had to do skin grafts and shit. You can look it up. I mean, that lady seriously was burned. And I don't know if somebody else tried to copycat that later. I don't know. I haven't heard anything, but maybe. I don't know how many instances of people suing because they spilled hot coffee on themselves. And I don't know, out of that group of people, I don't know how many of them were Gen X. But by what this person is saying, no baby boomers have ever spilled coffee on themselves. Gen X is the first generation in the history of mankind to spill coffee. All right. The only one I'm even vaguely aware of is the lady that was seriously injured and she sued and she won. This is that kind of childish stuff you see on the internet where it's just, you spill coffee. There's no real, I mean, what do you say back to that? I'm rubber and you're glue. Whatever you say bounces off me and sticks to you, Red Dragon. You spill coffee. No, boomers spill coffee, not Gen X. It's just childish, just childish little jabs trying to upset another person, which cracks me up because they're doing this. They're trying to do this to Gen Xers who don't give a shit. I'm just doing this for the entertainment factor. You know what I mean? I don't care. This guy can, or this gal, whoever this is, can post one of these every day, every hour. It's not going to bother me in any way. Just the fact that they get on a Gen X channel when they're not Gen X, right? It's a baby boomer. And they come and get on a Gen X channel. Gen X is in the title of my channel. Gen X thinks. So you're going to get onto a Gen X channel because the channel is fun and awesome, because the boomer channels, I guess, you're watching are crap and boring. What, knitting and collecting stamps and bottle caps or something? I don't know why you're over here watching Gen X stuff. But to come over here and watch it and be interested enough in Generation X to watch a channel dedicated to Generation X, and then have the gall to get on here and hack on us like you're going to be doing something, especially when we are known for not giving a shit. We are known for having thick skin. We are known for these things, and you're going to get on here and try to upset us. It's funny when you think about it. All right, let's continue. Half of the millennials were raised as pets and have no concept of critical thinking. There's another thought or sentence there that could have really used some elaboration, some backstory, some explanation, something. Half of the millennials were raised as pets. It doesn't make sense. What are you trying to say there? Did they have to go to the bathroom outside? Were their plates put on the floor? Were there, they had to eat off the floor instead of at the table like a normal person? Were they taken to school on leashes? I don't understand what is being said here. I just don't get it. I'm lost on this one. It could have used some more information there. Half of the millennials were raised as pets because of these reasons. But there aren't any. Just half of millennials are raised as pets. Now, there are a lot of kids out there now who think they're pets, or who at least say they're pets, cats and shit, but I've never heard that before, that millennials were raised as pets. I don't quite understand it. And have no concept of critical thinking. How did this happen, you ask? Thank your local Gen X. So again, we have a commenter, most likely a baby boomer, who blames all of the world's problems on Gen X. At least all of America's problems on Gen X. Every single thing that's wrong today is our fault, according to some of these people. And to me, that's just like waving a flag. I'm an idiot saying this kind of stuff, because I know we didn't cause all the world's problems. I know that, everything I just went through in this response here, this comment, most of it, all of it is crap. The only thing I can't say 100% is crap is the one thing I didn't really understand, the critical thinking thing. But I would be willing to bet that millennials are just as good at critical thinking as every other generation. But we have this happen more often than you'd think. These baby boomers, millennials a little bit, not so much like this. I can just tell by the tone of this, and of course because they talk about millennials and other things there, through process of elimination, I can peg this user as a baby boomer. But I can also tell just by the tone, because this is the tone I get from baby boomers in our comments. They blame us for everything that's gone wrong in society somehow. They don't do any research into anything. They don't find out anything. They just have these opinions and want to regurgitate them into our comments on a specifically Gen X channel. I created this channel for Gen Xers. As you can tell by the channel name, Gen X Thinks, I made this for us. I didn't know that baby boomers weren't gonna get on here and give us all kinds of fun by saying a bunch of ridiculous stuff. But that's just a bonus. And that's all they had to say. That wrapped it up there. Thank your local Gen X for all the problems in society today. And I'll leave you there with that. Let me know in the comments what you think of old Red Dragon's opinions here. What do y'all think? Do you think he's full of crap, or she is full of crap? Or do you think that we are spoiled? And maybe you know how we sold the United States out to corporate America. Us alone, just Gen X. But if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe and comment down below. I really appreciate it. If you'd like to support the channel by buying me a cup of coffee, I'll leave a link in the description down below. And if you're interested in Gen X gear, I'll leave that link in the description as well. And if you don't want to support the channel in one of those ways, you can always do so by sharing these videos on your social media. And if you have any ideas for future videos, please leave those down in the comments too. I like doing those videos that are inspired by y'all. So that's a really cool thing to do. And again, let me know what you think of old Red Dragon, of what they have to say about us, Generation X as a whole. And as always, stay frosty, Gen X, and I'll see you on the next one.